right. Obviously, the guys that make it all happen are the guys up front on the offensive line. We expected this to be one of the top 5 units in the country, the best in the Big Ten. I don't think that the offensive line is underachieved, but there was a number, even going right into the season against Minnesota, some uncertainty about some spots and some guys that had traded spots up front. So where does the offensive line rotation stand at this point?
It's interesting coming out of this Rutgers game because we've seen a few guys kind of have to step in. Harry Miller hadn't played until this week with an unspecified availability. So you got Luke Whippler, who stepped in, a redshirt freshman, played really well at center. And the offensive line was pretty much stable up until Thayer Munford gets hurt a couple weeks ago. Matthew Jones steps in at left guard, plays well. This past week, Thayer Munford was back, and there was, interestingly, a good amount of rotation during the game on the offensive line. You saw Thayer Munford come in at the tackle positions at times where he played previously. You saw Matthew Jones play both guard position. Paris Johnson came out of the game. They rotated a lot of different guys, and this was not, after the game was over in terms of the scoreboard. They were doing this pretty early on in the game. So we heard from Ryan Day, we heard from offensive line coach Greg Studrawa before the season that they thought they had, at least 6 guys who they kind of all considered starters. And then I think Luke Whippler's kind of gotten himself into that mix. Harry Miller didn't get into the game until later, but he's still working his way back. So, I think maybe you have 7 guys who the Buckeyes really trust to be on this offensive line. And, they showed against Rutgers, you can rotate other guys in, play guys at some different spots and still be effective. What I think will be interesting is as you get further along in this season, you play the likes of Penn State, Michigan, the teams that seem to be the best left on Ohio State's schedule. Who are the offensive linemen that are in there in those big moments? I think that it's probably going to be the group that we saw start the year with Nicholas Petit-Frere at left tackle, Thayer Munford at left guard. Probably Luke Whippler holds that spot at center just because he's been very good. Paris Johnson at right guard, and then DeJuan Jones at right tackle. Matthew Jones played really well. I think if everyone's healthy, though, that's probably the group that when the chips are down, when you need your best performance, your best push up front, whatever it may be, I think those are probably the guys. But Ohio State's shown they're willing to rotate to some degree. And, especially in games when they know that they're the better team, like they did last weekend, I think you'll see that not only gets guys more experience, but I think it keeps guys happy as well, which, is kind of a thing that fans don't always worry about, but coaches have to manage those snaps and things like that. And being able to do that on the offensive line is a luxury a lot of teams don't have.